Welcome back to the Healthy Skin Show. I'm Takashi, your host and your healthy skin coach, helping you get clear skin and preaching to the world why food is the ultimate medicine. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Damyan Nikolov, who formerly worked in finance at Lehman Brothers and at Apex Partners Private Equity. And now he is the founder of Organys Skincare. And I'm really happy that he's joining me today on this podcast.
Great to talk to you today.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to talk about your background in finance and then how you kind of transitioned into skin care.
For sure. Yeah, it's life, life just takes you to places that you don't expect. But I spent 10 years on Wall Street between investment banking and private equity. And then my wife and I were trying to get pregnant with our second kid. And we had to get some medical help from the doctors because it wasn't happening naturally for us. And so in the process, I was giving her a number of medications, literally doing the injections myself, doing different protocols, and all these hormonal treatments sort of affected her skin in a major way. She was bouncing from very oily to very dried and random breakouts. And this stuff was impacting her on on an emotional level. And so the doctors would tell us, listen, they did their tests. You guys are completely fine. There's no physiological reason that we see why you shouldn't be having kids. Is there stuff that's stressing you out? And the only really thing that was stressing her out was the skin. So we did, a bunch of research and start getting into different things that she was trying. Eventually, I got tired of the skincare industry's BS, and I started formulating stuff. I just got a little team together and start making stuff. One thing led to another. Later on, launched the first brand called Organys, and then most recently I launched a second brand called Open Formula. I also nowadays host the Skincare Secrets podcast and trying to help people have clear, healthy skin.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, my story is kind of similar. I also started in finance and worked at Oaktree, a private equity firm, and then worked at a startup here and there. But just last year, I suffered from severe eczema where I couldn't really move. It was so painful, and I was bleeding all over my bed with dry flakes of skin on my sheets. And I'm like,
what caused it?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Why has this happened to me? I'm young and I eat relatively healthy, I think. And I've suffered from eczema before as a child. And I would always have it here and there. And in college, I had severe acne, which made me depressed, antisocial, and at times suicidal. And I took severe prescription drugs, Accutane. I probably had 20 steroid creams, and I got so fed up with the entire industry and how doctors and dermatologists have really no idea how to heal you. They're just taught to hand you creams. And last year I spent months just studying the science behind healthy skin and my condition. And I discovered so many things that no doctor or dermatologist will tell you. And
let me jump in on the doctors real quick. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be helpful for the listeners. Doctors and dermatologists are not bad people, but you have to understand the system. A lot of their education that they're getting on an ongoing basis after they finish school comes from all the pharmaceutical reps that go see them every week. Literally every week they have a pharma rep in their office talking about the latest drug, the latest development. Obviously, pharma companies are paying for that visit, and that's where they get most of their education. So naturally, they're biased from that angle, and ultimately, they're you know, the saying to a guy with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The main tool that those folks have is the prescription pad. So naturally, the answer is to put something on the prescription pad. So carry on. I'm really interested to hear your story.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I always say, like, Western medicine is more focused on the scientific method and isolating one organ, when really you have to look at the holistic picture. And what I discovered was that food is the ultimate medicine, and food was causing me the severe eczema. And what initially made me flare up was pizza, sausage pizza. So the red meat,
Okay.
gluten, and dairy.
Yeah.
The trifecta of,
Great combination.
yeah, trifecta of sensitivities. And what was making me worse and worse and worse was tea, green and black tea, which I was drinking thinking it was anti-inflammatory. But for my body, it was actually the most inflammatory thing. So,
Fascinating.
yeah, so what I thought was healthy was actually making me worse and worse and worse. And when I cut that out and cut out all the foods that are inflammatory to my body, I started noticing dramatic change and healing. And now that I discovered the root cause of eczema, which is inflammation, and actually the root cause of many medical conditions is inflammation from food.
Yep.
I just have to share this with the world. And so I started my business, which is being a healthy skin coach. It's pure and simple. I will teach you and coach you how to get healthy skin using food.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me, did you take any kind of allergy testing? Was it allergy related or not even?
Yeah. So eczema is related to allergies. And I got the most comprehensive food sensitivity test done. And that showed me exactly which foods I'm sensitive to. And I'm really thankful for taking that test, which basically is an investment for the rest of my life, so that I can be healthy for now and from now on, and have clear skin, because I know exactly what foods to eat and to avoid.
Fascinating. And I'm thankful that there are people like you. I interviewed Michael Greger from nutritionfacts.org a few months ago. You know, he's on a similar mission, coming from a slightly different perspective, but I'm just so happy for guys like you and him. And I wish you to get to his level and higher in what you're doing.
Yeah, so I follow a lot of functional medicine experts in on YouTube and on the internet, and they focus on food as the ultimate medicine and the holistic approach, and not just handing out creams as the solution. And when I was doing my research, I found out that I personally had a leaky gut due to my poor diet. And what happens is these food particles cross the intestinal epithelial wall, and the immune system starts, or the immune system thinks that these food particles are allergens, which increases inflammatory chemicals, one of them being interleukin 33, and it signals T helper cells, specifically Th2 cells, and the innate lymphoid cells to produce more anti-inflammatory cytokines to combat the inflammation that's that's happening in the blood. And these anti-inflammatory cytokines 4 and 13 are signaling B cells to produce antibodies. And some of these antibodies are switching to the isotype IgE, or immunoglobulin E, which is responsible for allergic reactions in the mast cells, which are in the skin and in the lungs. So if it's in the skin, you'll see hives and rashes and eczema. If it's in the lungs, you'll see asthma happening because of these allergic reactions. And the reactions can also release other inflammatory chemicals called mediators, including histamines, prostaglandins, and leukotrienes. And then having too many of these like prostaglandins and leukotrienes have been tied to all kinds of inflammatory diseases and even cancer. So, so now that I know the science behind inflammation caused by food, then I can help so many people through nutrition to, stop eating inflammatory foods that are causing all these allergic reactions in the body.
Yeah. Ultimately, there's no industry that does that because there's no profit in it.
Yeah.
Right. It is much more profitable to sell junk food on the other end and sell pharmaceuticals on the other. I myself, not having grown up here, grew up in a place where pizza just didn't exist when I was growing up. So I've literally not developed any taste for that. I've had pizza maybe 10 times in my life, cumulatively, ever.
Wow.
When I tell people that, they just look at me from another planet, which to me was a blessing. But nowadays, I think the burden is on us to stand guard whenever it comes to everything that we put in and around our bodies, whatever we're being sold to, from food to skincare to medication. Even I'm going to extend this further to all the fear that the media is quote unquote selling us nowadays with the coronavirus. And I'm not saying it's not a serious issue, but the panic that everybody is living in is a fact of media needing eyeballs and needing events to sell ads, because that's the bottom line, because nobody talks about the 500,000 people that die from cigarettes every year, or the 1.5 million that die from car accidents. But we don't stop driving. We just learn to live with this stuff. Anyway, little tangent. So now you are helping people individually, one-on-one?
Yeah. So I have a website at thehealthyskincoach.com, and I do free phone consultations. And if they're a good fit, then I have them join my program, and I help them with nutrition, with changing up their lifestyle, managing their stress, and helping them with topicals, looking at the ingredients. And some of these topicals are, the synthetic chemicals inside are just disrupting the skin microbiome or the healthy bacteria on your skin so much that, I just don't really recommend majority of the creams and lotions and topicals that are out there, and that you can get over the counter or at grocery stores.
I want to ask you a question. Give me some examples of people that you worked with and how you changed their skin and their life.
Yeah, so my business is actually pretty new. I started on January 1st. So
Okay.
I've received a bunch of incoming calls from potential clients. And just today, I was talking to someone who had severe psoriasis, and her doctor told her that it was due to bad luck. And I'm like, man, these doctors don't know anything. And she was so excited that someone actually understood the pain she was going through, because I've been through severe eczema and severe acne, and I know how embarrassing it can be for her. And I helped. And when she told me her diet, which was filled with fast food, and she was making poor diet choices, I immediately knew how I could help her through food and through a better diet, through better nutrition, and now I'm working with her. So these are the stories that really motivate me to continue my business, to help every single person out there who's suffering from acne or eczema or psoriasis, and they're tired of dermatologists not caring at all. And for me, I was never asked once what my diet was like growing up. It was all just, here's another cream, just put it on your skin. And I got so frustrated with how the industry is being run.
Probably the most wildly underestimated thing in people's lives. Your body regenerates itself multiple times a year. Your skin, this very well, regenerates itself 12 times a year, right? Every month you get basically new skin. So all that stuff gets built from the fuel you put in. And you put junk, you get junk. That's how it is.
Yeah. And especially with psoriasis and other autoimmune conditions where the inflammation inside the body is causing your immune system to overreact. And that's why you're seeing it in the skin or in the digestive system or in the joints like arthritis. So
Yeah.
so many autoimmune conditions can be fixed with a proper diet, but most people just rely on drugs like Humira, which blocks TNF, which is a pro-inflammatory cytokine, stands for tumor necrosis factor. And Humira sells $20 billion worth every year. It's the best-selling drug in the world. And I'm like, man, if only people knew the actual proper way to heal through whole, nutritious food, then I can transform so many lives, and that's my mission.
I don't think most people want to know. I really don't think most people want to know. We live in a world where people want the instant gratification, the instant result.
Yeah.
I was listening to a nutrition expert, natural healing expert from out in Eastern Europe, and they said that if you use herbs and foods and natural medicine, however long it took you to cause the damage to your body, the same amount of time would roughly would be required for the body to heal up.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has patience for that nowadays.
Yeah.
People go to the doctor because, and to some extent, the doctors are basically satisfying the demand, right? Patients are not going there asking, what can you give me that will help me improve over the next 24 months? Everybody says, how can I be back on the saddle tomorrow? And that's what happens. You get the quick fix, which fixes one thing, breaks 10 other, and you're on a different track completely now.
Yeah, 100%. And part of that is just the rise of the internet and having instant access to everything. So that kind of feeds our mind to want instant healing by going to the doctor's office instead of healing the proper way through food. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I hope you get a lot of people to help out. I still remember when I did my first product, it was an eyelash serum to help boost the eyelashes. And one of the first customers that wrote back was a lady who had cancer and she had gone through chemotherapy. And she said, I lost my hair and I lost my eyelashes. And with this product now, they're short and stubby, but I have some eyelashes back. And it just changed my life so dramatically. Looking at the mirror in the morning, seeing myself look like a normal human being, that's the kind of stuff that as an entrepreneur is what keeps me going, and the kind of stuff that will keep you going as you get more and more people to help.
Wow, yeah, that's a really powerful story. And for me, I can't wait to show the world the before and after pictures of some of my clients. It's not an overnight fix, as we talked about, but month after month, when you're consistent with your diet and lifestyle and managing stress, and the body has an amazing ability to heal itself. And people just really need to understand that. You cannot rely on doctors, you cannot rely on prescription drugs or topicals. You have to rely on food and what you take into your body and what you put on your skin.
You should show your pictures. I'm sure you have some.
I have some.
Yeah, amazing photos.
The first pictures I show are my own on my website. You can see the before and after of me head to toe with severe eczema, bleeding all over, and me healing through the right way to heal.
Amazing story. Very inspiring.
Yeah. Here, a question for you.
Please.
Where do you see the future of Organys and in your businesses growing?
Organys for us is a brand that was meant to serve the Amazon beauty shopper. At the time, we just saw gaps in the market, but then where I see the future is really Open Formula, which is our direct-to-consumer brand. I think people are getting smarter with their food choices, and the skincare industry is easily 30 years behind. I'm not sure if you know of a brand called RX Bar, for example. You know, the bars that say 3 egg whites, 2 dates, and 5 cashews. And that's really all the ingredients they have. Most people go to the grocery store and that's how they shop. They pick out a product, they flip it, they start reading the back. You know, we took that insight and we started putting the key ingredients and the concentrations on the front of the label, and people really like it. One lady said, this is fascinating. It's just skincare ingredients in a bottle. She didn't even describe it as skincare products. She just said skincare ingredients in a bottle. And I think that's where the market's going to evolve over time. I think people are demanding transparency. First of all, I'm really ticked off by the fact that skincare is unregulated completely. It should be as regulated as food, and people should be listing on their label what they're putting in, including percentages. Just like you know how many grams of fat and protein you're getting when you're buying food. And I think eventually consumers demanding that will force more brands to do it, and transparency will prevail. And then with that, people are now realizing that you're getting ingredients in a bottle. Why am I paying $85 for that stuff in Sephora or the department stores? And market is shifting to lower priced, more affordable products, which can give you just the same results, because ultimately ingredients, the ingredient, right? Packaging, marketing, branding, all that stuff, people are starting to see through that.
Yep, 100% agree. I'm a big fan of essential oils, which are very much simpler than all these fancy creams and lotions that are out there. And and it does, and the essential oils don't disrupt the skin microbiome like some of these lotions are doing to the skin. And when I was using the over-the-counter lotions, it was making my skin more and more sensitive. And I find out, oh, it's got parabens in it, it's got fragrances in it, or whatever other ingredient is in it.
Yeah.
If if you're not willing to put it in your mouth, then you really shouldn't be putting it on your skin.
Listen, if this stuff works, then use it. I tell people skincare is very individualized. If you want to use pure oils and your skin feels great, then that's it. You don't need anything else. I'm working on a new set of formulas, literally stripping skincare down to the absolute minimum. For example, my new cleanser is going to have 2 ingredients. That's it. There's an oil base and a little foaming ingredient to actually help you wash so you can stay clean. But that's it. You don't need 3 pages of a label.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I would love to try it when it comes out.
For sure. I'll let you know.
So you worked at Lehman Bros before its demise. How would you compare that experience and going through 2008 to this? It looks pretty evident that a recession is coming based on the number of unemployment numbers. And so how would you compare and contrast the two decades?
I think this time is going to be very different. So last time, the impact was felt a lot more in the financial community. Normal people probably felt the pain the most in their retirement accounts and in their savings accounts with stocks going down, all that stuff. But this time, the pain is felt a lot more by regular people, because businesses are shutting down, unemployment applications are through the roof, and it's just starting. And honestly, last time the bounce back was quick because not that many people lost their jobs, um, and that financial impact wasn't really felt in the real economy. But I'm looking at the parking lot uh, around the building here, and a good 70% of the businesses are completely closed. Those people probably have 2, 3, 4 months where they can pay rent, and in the meantime they have fired all of their employees. So think about a company with 5, 10, 20, 25 people that needs to restart that. Going and recruiting your personnel to fill up your shop when the mall opens, that's a big issue. That's not happening in a week. Probably gonna take months. And then people, in terms of consumers, are gonna be much more cautious. How often they go to the mall, how often they go to the bar, how often they go to the movies. So I think everyday retail businesses and consumer-facing businesses will be impacted a lot more this time around.
Yeah, 100% agree. Now I'm looking at pandemic-proof investments where the company is thriving even when you're at home, or even when the customer is at home. So you look at Zoom, who's doing really well, and Amazon, who's doing really well. The video gaming industry is doing really well. Even marijuana sales are up. But pretty much majority of the companies need to start
I looked at those companies for my personal portfolio. I think a lot of those have actually overshot in terms of value because people are seeing that they will have 1 or 2 extraordinarily good quarters. I'm looking on the other side. I'm looking at companies like real estate businesses, like malls that have lost 70% of their value. You're buying still good real estate, which will hopefully eventually bounce back.
Yeah,
the dog
distressed
food companies.
Assets. Yeah, distressed assets are looking attractive, but I also think the market has more room to the downside because I don't think the unemployment numbers are fully priced in, and it's just ripple effects within the economy. And it's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to, I think, find
if
a
not
job.
Quarters, if not 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters.
Sure. Yeah. To find a good job, because now, it takes so much time to get rolling again. And for the hiring manager, now the hiring manager has an abundance of these workers. So they're going to try to pick the best one at the lowest price, at the lowest salary. So that can take a while. And then with commercial real estate, I think the prices are going to drop because companies are finding that they can operate without having offices. Yeah. So they can operate solely on Zoom and emails and other, just phone calls. And so when we haven't really seen real estate prices dip, and I mean, real estate moves much slower than the stock market. So it might take a year, 18 months for the real estate prices to reflect the magnitude of the recession.
Yeah, it's going to be deep. It's going to be deep. I think it's overblown when it comes to the economy because people under 50 who are healthy, the risk is as much as the risk of normal pneumonia. So I think in terms of shutting down the entire economy, I'm not sure that's the best solution. I think South Korea has done a much better job with intensive testing and actually isolating people that need to be isolated instead of everyone. But it's sort of like cancer. In the absence of a better treatment, you just blast the entire body with radiation, and that's how you treat it. Not ideal, but that's the best tool that the government has. right now.
Yeah. I just made a video yesterday talking about how it's your immune system that actually kills you, not really the virus itself. It's called a cytokine storm, where these inflammatory chemicals are just being produced so much in the body in reaction to the virus that your organs start shutting down, which can ultimately lead to death. And I talk about a lot on my channel these anti-inflammatory foods that can help reduce all these pro-inflammatory cytokines, including interleukin-1 beta and 6 and TNF alpha. And so that's why I always say, eat the right foods now and start optimizing your health to optimize your immune system in preparation for the coronavirus if you were to get it. But hopefully you can prevent yourself and your body from getting a cytokine storm so that you don't end up dying from the virus.
And hopefully that shift in diet and ideally lifestyle stays on. I think a lot of what's going on right now has potential to actually improve people's life over the long term. One, people being at home and actually cooking food and eating real food as opposed to eating junk on the go. I think that's a big one. People spending time as a family and being more involved in their kids' education because kids have to learn at home. The kind of things that I see with my kid just open my eyes to so many things that we are doing now better, and it will stay that way. And also, very importantly, saving. I think a lot of people are in a very, very dark place right now, largely because they live paycheck to paycheck, not because they're not making enough, but because they're spending it all. And then they have maxed out the credit card. So when you have I wouldn't call it a big shock, but a shock like the one we have nowadays, and you have to rely on savings, and you can't get unemployment right away, and you can't get another job for a quarter or two, it just leads to panic.
Mm-hmm. There's small positive things from this pandemic. One of them being the pollution. And if you look at the sky in LA right now, it's beautiful. And you
Yeah.
can see the pollution clearing up all over the world on some of the images. So
yeah.
that is one.
Did you read about Venice, how the water cleared and then fish actually came back?
I did not.
Yeah, the
Wow.
canals are apparently beautiful. So what are you doing? How has the coronavirus impacted you personally, your life, your coaching business?
So I started it before the pandemic on January 1st, and I've actually been super productive. I tried to make a video and a podcast every single day, and I do outreach on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'm getting more and more calls every day, and I'm building up my website. What else? I'm working on creating my own supply of skincare products as well. And yeah, so I've been busy. And everyone else has been Netflix and chilling.
Yeah. Tell me, how is building an audience from scratch? How's that for you?
Yeah, organic growth is slow, but every time I get a call from a client and they share their story with me, I know exactly where my heart is, where my passion is, and how I know how I can help them, especially when they describe their diet. And yeah, so for now, it's slow. And some people just can't afford my monthly program. So I offer them a free week, sometimes a free month. And I just want to help as many people as I can. And they say that the best businesses and companies start from recessions. And I firmly believe that I'm one of those people who can start something big in times of crisis.
You know what I see in you? I see that you're doing it for the impact, and you just sound genuinely happy about what you do, because you're not even talking about money, and you're not talking about, you know, business as a business. And I wish I could see more people who are in that same place, because life just gets so much better when you're playing for impact and you're not focusing on. And it's fine, you know, money is a measuring tool. Ultimately, everybody wants to be successful, but playing for impact allows you to be in it for the long term, and you can try a lot more things. You can learn a lot more, and ultimately, there's a lot of, call it luck or random factor in life. And the longer you're in the game, the better chance you are to catch that one ball that's going to just take you to the next level. So wishing you luck and all the best with that venture.
Yeah, and I appreciate those words. When I was in finance, in investment banking and private equity, I never felt fulfilled and satisfied. Even though I was making more money, I knew this was not something for me in the long term. And I'm really,
Sounds
I'm
like you found
actually,
your place now.
yeah, I'm actually very glad I went through severe eczema, debilitating eczema, because now I understand the root cause of many medical conditions, not only skin. And now I can try to help as many people as I can. And I've publicly stated and tweeted out that my life's mission is to eradicate eczema with the proper coaching and education. So I have a big goal ahead of me, but through YouTube videos and podcasts, and hopefully getting my name and brand out there, I can achieve that in my lifetime.
Good stuff.
Yep.
It's good stuff. It's good to make you a friend. Let's stay in touch.
Yeah, Damyan, thank you so much
Anything.
for joining me. And yeah, I really hope the best for your business. Let's definitely do a follow-up podcast sometime in the near future.
For sure. All
Yeah.
the best to you and your listeners.
Thank you. All right. Stay safe and stay healthy. And yeah, thank you so much.
Live with purpose. See you
All right.
next time.
Peace.
Bye.